Hello YouTube, my name is Nicholas Daniels and I'm a financial planning student at my university. Um, the plan with this channel is to create a place where I can document my financial journey and show it to others. Um, this will be used as a record for myself and I hope to help people along the way with their own financial journeys. I believe that a good way to promote financial health is transparency, and I hope to be one of those examples of transparency that you can gain information from. This first video is going to be going over uh, questions for one of my projects in my financial planning class. So let's just get right into the questions. Question number one is from Finance Robot, and they ask, how do you feel now that you've done your budget? Now that I've done my budget, I feel I feel more organized and intentional with how I spend my money. Um, Before I started this budget, I always would spend money and then I would not think about it. But now, before I spend money, I think about it and I'm like, is this something I actually want to spend my money on? And if it's not, I say no. Okay, I don't need this, and so I'm not wasting as much money as I used to. Um, I also feel like I've learned a lot about myself and what I actually want to spend my money on. Uh, I feel I feel like I've learned a lot about myself, and through tracking my money, I figured out what I don't really need and what I actually want. And so setting goals to get to where I want and get things that I want has been a major impact of the budget that I've done over the past 3 months. What are three things that you've learned from your budget? What I've learned from my project, what what I've learned from my budget is that I actually do enjoy tracking it. I think that it's very helpful for being financially responsible with my money, and it's less time consuming than I thought. For example, the first month was pretty time consuming just because I had to catch up about 20 days worth, but after a while it just becomes, hey, at the end of the day or after the end of the week, you just fill up these tabs right here that you see, and it all comes together in this um, pivot table in which I can transfer it over to my categories. Um, um, I've also learned how to be more responsible with my money. As you can see, right here is where I started saving my money. This, and as you can see right here and right here, and in some other places, I paid off my credit card debt completely. Okay. The third and most important thing that I learned from this is that it pays off greatly. Like I said before, I was able to pay off my credit card and start saving money once again. All right, let's get into the next question. Uh, Economic Escrow asks, what is your biggest expense category and what surprised you about how you spend money? Including my parents and what they help pay for and everything, my biggest expenses for these 3 months would have to be my debt, mainly because I paid off about 1,200 or 1,300 in credit card debt over 2 months. Um, and my parents helped pay for my car and some other stuff. Other than that, my second largest expense category would have to be my transportation because I have quite an expensive car with quite expensive insurance, in which I help pay for partially. Um, it would be lower if I wouldn't have gotten a speeding ticket though. So that's on me, and I've learned from my mistake because it costs a lot of money. How you spend money, the most surprising thing that I saw was just how much I was spending on fast food. My money spending habits have been pretty routine since I started working when I was in high school, and I think that over time, I've once I moved out, I started spending more on fast food and like snacks. President Trump asks, "Do you have a surplus or deficit? Are there any changes that you will make to improve your cash flow? If so, what are they? How will you make those changes?" It looks like the president is seeking advice. Don't know what he's going to get from this, but let's see. Um, Overall, I do have a deficit, as you can see right here. I forgot to do the January one, but I believe it was around 600 as well. Are there any changes you will make to improve your cash flow? Right here you can see it's negative 142.52, which means that I am at a deficit, but the month is not over, and by the end of March, I will have a positive, I will have a positive cash flow, I guess. Are there any changes that you will make to improve your cash flow? If so, what are they? Yes, I will definitely spend more money on groceries instead of eating out. Um, just overall planning has really helped with that. And I think that time management will also be an important factor for me being able to have time to cook more instead of having the ability to eat out and just have it quick. How will you make those changes? I'll probably try meal prepping at the beginning of the week and then having that food throughout the week, which will save me a ton of time. And then planning for meals ahead of time so that I know what I'm going to be cooking will also help if I'm not going to meal prep. Um, the next question is from Dave Ramsey. He asks, think about your family and community in general. Do they believe, I'm sorry, do they live on a budget? Do they track their expenses? What kind of healthy and unhealthy financial behaviors do you see? As far as I know, my family does not live on a budget, and only a few of my friends do. Um, the unhealthy behaviors I see with them is that they spend too much of their money, and instead of planning it out and saving for retirement, for example, for my parents, they spent their money and just kept spending instead of saving. And my friends, they don't really have to worry about it as much, but they should be saving what they can, everything. The healthy behaviors I see is for my two friends, they track their budgets, they track their expenses, and the commonality between them is that they are in committed relationships in which they're the majority provider for their families. We often talk about money together, and I see that as another financial behavior that is very positive and can make an impact. The next question is, how do you impact the society around you by living on a budget? What if you don't? Um, I believe that living on a budget, I am able to learn about personal finance and use that knowledge to help other people around me. Um, as of right now, I'm not making as much of a impact as I'd like, but in the future, once I am done with university, I will have plenty of knowledge to spread to as many people as possible, hopefully through YouTube. Uh, how do you impact the society around you by living on a budget? What if you don't? Um, I guess that really doesn't apply to me because I feel like I will be impacting society in the future. I think that living on a budget can teach you other things like living below your means and not falling prey to consumerism and its never ending cycle of trash products advertised all over the place, like social media and newspapers. I guess nobody uses newspapers anymore, but. And the next question is from Layla. She asks, how would you help a friend set up their budget and live by it? First, I would ask them to set up a few goals that they'd like to accomplish by the next few months, by the end of the year, because once you set up goals, you're more likely to be able to achieve those goals. And then after they've set their goals, I would set them, I would help them set up a basic budget that has all their needs, wants, and savings, similar to this one. Then I would I would help them track everything, and I would let them know, hey, you need to do something similar to this to know exactly what you're spending every month so that you can get to where you want to be. Um, After they do their own budgeting, I'll probably check in every month or two, every few months, and see how they're doing, if they need any help, any advice they might need. And I would, most importantly, I would let them know that it's okay if they mess up. Don't beat yourself up. Don't beat yourself up about it. It's just something that happens. Sometimes you might overspend. That's okay. The main thing that you want to get from that is that you don't want to get discouraged from continuing your budget, because it's very important for getting to the goals that you want for yourself and for your family. The next question is from the Internal Revenue Service. Looking at your pay stubs from work, how much did you pay in taxes? How did that impact your budget? I have two jobs. One is as a student employee at the university, and the second is self-employment. The first one, I do not have to pay taxes while I'm enrolled in classes. So for the year of 2024, I only had to pay $200 in taxes through that job. During the summer, I for the year of 2024, I actually got money. I got more money um, from the IRS than I paid in taxes. I got about almost $600 from the IRS, and my self-employment, I do technically have to pay taxes, but because of deductions and everything with my vehicle, um, I didn't owe anything there, or I did owe, but basically I got tax benefits for being a student, and therefore I didn't have to pay any taxes and made money off of it. How much did you pay in taxes? How did that impact your budget? So the way that my budget works is 20% of what I make from the self-employment I save just in case I do need to pay taxes on it. And then once I am done with that, or once the year is over and I have that money left over, I usually save it or I use it for school. The next question is, based on your personal experience and information from the course, discuss how taxes impact/influence society in both good and bad ways. Give at least two examples in each way. Taxes can impact society positively by funding social programs like SNAP, unemployment, disabilities, Medicare, Medicaid, many other social programs. Another benefit of taxes is infrastructure like roads, power grid, and water systems. These are vital for all people to survive and live their daily routines that they're used to these days. Some negatives of taxes is smaller disposable income, and that can potentially be, smaller disposable income that can potentially be used to spend more money and make the economy even bigger. Another negative is people don't often know where their taxes are going, and um, things like money is spent on things like national defense, where many people think that it's just too much. We're not in war right now, so we don't really need it. We don't need that much funding going to the national defense, and people would much rather it go to things like education, better infrastructure like roads. And for just a third point, the US government should stop taxing minors because, for one, they don't make much as minors, and secondly, they don't get a vote. Uh, uh, no taxation without representation or whatever. Um, Thank you for watching my video. If you have any questions, any recommendations about what I should do next for another video, I'll probably go into depth about these two. If you have any suggestions, I will happily take them. Y'all have a good day.